Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Broyans Farm. So I was just walking down the lane to get down to the farm for the first time this morning, and figured I'd stop and take a little bit of a closer look at our potatoes. They're doing pretty well. Pap actually picked up some sweet potatoes, this plant, and that plant right there. And actually this one too I planted, but that one doesn't seem to be doing quite as good. And so they'll kind of be just for ourselves here, just for our own use. Pap loves sweet potatoes, so I just stuck them in the ground. Now they are gonna be quite a bit later because I just planted them, and these were planted weeks and weeks ago, but we'll see what happens by the tail end of the season. These are growing like crazy though, which is really good. Now that we got this rain though, we can't get back in. We gotta cultivate them one more time, and then we gotta hill them because it's not gonna be long. Those little tiny baby potatoes that they're putting on are gonna stick out of the ground, and if they stick out of the ground and see sunlight, they're gonna start turning green. This is the tomato field. This is our earlier ones. The later ones are down below here. And you can see all of the grass coming up here between. We really gotta get through and spray these, but like I said, again, it's just too muddy, so we gotta wait. Here's the smaller ones. This is the later ones we planted. They're just starting to take off now, putting some new leaves on. Man, this grass is coming up like crazy. I think it's a grass. We have the haze here again, I guess from the Canada wildfires. I don't know if you can see that. Usually the mountain, you can see it nice dark green. Now it's like a whitish. I was thinking for the past couple days, it was kind of just a little bit of a fog, but it's definitely not a fog. I was watching the news and they said it's gonna hit us here again. Mom and Dad are back from Tennessee, so that means if the ground dries out, hopefully maybe later today or tomorrow morning, Dad can get in the field, get the cabbage field ready, and we can get planting. These are still a little bit smaller than the size we usually like to plant, but they're still really nice. Then over here in number one, we have our cantaloupe and watermelon. They're doing really well. Oh, and the hollyhocks, which are finally starting to come out. That's exciting. I know there's like yellow, there's white, there's pink, there's a dark purple. Here's our cantaloupe and watermelon. This is the watermelon. Down here is the cantaloupe. And then down here, which is just starting to come up, wow, is our late season cole crops. It's amazing what happens overnight. You can see all the dirt, or all the vermiculite, getting lifted, which means the seeds are starting to poke through. Then we have our field sunflowers. You can see all the green necks coming out. They should be coming out today. Now these kind of bolted, I don't think they're gonna make it. You can see how they're like long and dangly. Yeah, that does happen rarely, but it does happen. Good morning, Dace. Wow, are you soaked? See, I was going through the oat fields. Just came out to the market. My truck is so full. Sammy and I went to Sam's Club last night and got a bunch of stuff we need for the market. I'll come inside here. We don't really have much set up yet, but I think Jill is baking something. So yeah, we don't have any of our produce out yet. That's what me and Mom are here to do. Couple ears of corn. Still bought in tomatoes, but these are our green tomatoes. Not our potatoes, obviously not our watermelon or cantaloupe. Here's a couple fresh baked things. We have shoe fly pie, banana crumb, cake, chocolate with peanut butter, black bottom, and some homemade fudge. So the veggies are set up. We have our pickles. We're pickling cucumbers there. There's some of the kohlrabi that I picked yesterday, which I'll probably pick some more because they sold over half of what I picked. Here we have the cucumbers and zucchini, green tomatoes, red tomatoes, kale, sweet corn, cauliflower, asparagus, green peppers, little tiny onions, our own lettuce, beans, one pint of peas, and cherries. Over here is like the fruit, which is the apples, peaches. I don't know if rhubarb's considered a fruit, and the number 2 peaches. Sammy and I just got out here to start weeding the dill. She did these 2 rows yesterday. Look beautiful. Now we gotta do this row, which it's almost hard to even see it, but right there is the dill, that nice fluffy stuff. There's still little weeds coming up in between, but I think I might be able to spray these without injuring the dill. We'll see that once we're done. It only took us about 25 minutes. Dill is now done. That's gonna be a huge relief, especially for some of these small ones. Now, they're not competing with nutrients in the soil and being shaded out. I decided while I'm out here to pick some kohlrabi for the market. So there's 6 more of them. I'm actually gonna walk back here and cut some lettuce. I can't figure out, this is all the same variety, why these all bolted, but this one grew so nice. This is what it should look like. That is just gorgeous. I also got some lettuce. I think this is salad bowl. This is New Red Fire. And then I don't think we have any left down at the far end of the Butter Crunch or Romaine. I wasn't out here for the first half, but Sammy and Frank are working on planting these zinnias. I think they're doing 36-inch spacing, 14 inches between each plant. They're just over halfway done. Sammy's getting the plants laid out. You can see how nice and healthy the roots are. And then once they get planted, we'll probably go back over with sprinkling cans and water them in. Frank's going through with the Dremel tool, cutting holes. Just a regular X. Looks beautiful. The ground got a lot of water before we laid the plastic, so it really shouldn't be much trouble getting them in, is it, Sammy?
It's kind of like clay.
Yeah. Well, it's better than being bone dry.
Yeah.
Eventually, once these get big and have nice flowers on, it's a good eye catcher for the main highway here. Also, if people want to come and pick their own flowers, they can do that as well. Is that 4? 3 or 4?
Let's put one more and then we'll be safe. Then next time it'll definitely fit. Yeah, I want to get something out and get clean. It's like last year, you're just gonna wash it. At least it'll be empty out. Pour it out. That's plenty.
Dad and I got the fertilizer in the planter. He's gonna go make rows for our mid-season cabbage. We're gonna hopefully get planting today. And he's gonna plant some sweet corn. Now I just moved in here to the early season cole crop field along with the beans and red beets. If you can see behind me, there's the tractor. I'm gonna start going through and cultivating not only the beans here, but the red beets. So I just went about, I don't know, 25, 30 yards. And we weren't sure if it was gonna be too muddy, but man, I just went through this little section and it's so beautiful with that nice wet dirt, but not too wet to where it's all clumpy. So I showed you before, I might've been in my previous videos, all the weeds. Now I didn't go through this row, I just scratched the outside of it. I'm actually working on this row right here. So you can see how much closer I got. There's basically no weeds there besides the ones that I tilled up and are hopefully gonna die now that I broke the roots loose. We were just a little bit nervous. The beans were too big and I think they are very close to being borderline too big, but I'm not hurting them at all. I think I'm doing a perfect job. And so I'm gonna go through, finish these up, and then move over to the red beets over there. I finished the beans, now I moved on to the red beets. Doing a great job, just like the beans, but with the gaps in between the red beets, you can see all the little tiny weeds coming up. It's not that big of a deal, but I hate to see it. You can see even there where there's not that big of a gap, there's still a bunch of little ones coming up. Hopefully the red beets will get bigger and bigger and shade them out. It's obviously not gonna work 100%, but it should work for most of them. My main concern though is all these little tiny weeds that are gonna grow up into those weeds here in the center. That's what I'm in the process of killing. Now that they're broke loose from the ground up on top, they're gonna dry out and then die. This row is my next row I have to work on, and you can see all of them here. I'll come through and get a lot of these, but still the ones, like I said, that are right here next to the plant I can't get because if I get any closer to what I already am with the killers, I could risk digging up the roots, or at least loosening the roots of the red beets and killing them, just like I'm trying to do with the weeds. So I'm getting as close as possible without injuring or damaging the red beets. So I got the beans, red beets, my 1 row of sunflowers and onions, oh, and eggplant all cultivated. Next thing I'm gonna work on is the potatoes, but not right now. I actually had to stop because Frank got done washing baskets, and so now we're gonna move into picking up some irrigation pipe. We've gotten quite a bit of rain lately, and the pipe is in my rows that I need to cultivate. So I actually couldn't do 2 rows of the onions just because of the pipe. Probably about 85 degrees right now. All the cows are up under the trees, just chilling in the shade, munching on some grass. Daisy just follows everywhere we go. This is the pipe we're picking up. We already got a bunch. Frank can't help but pull some of the weeds he sees. He just got done weeding these, and then it's like night and day. These things are so beautiful. There's always a weed here and there, but it's not even close to what it was before he started. Pull. My entire day down here. Started off cultivating the onions, then cultivated the eggplant, came back through, picked up the irrigation pipe through the onions with Frank, and now I'm down here with Mom and Sydney doing the cabbage. So that's what I'm gonna call it a wrap for this video. As always, thank you guys for watching, and always remember it ain't much, but it's honest work.